Elon Musk reveal secret Donald Trump try to hidar from a black homeless millonero. La ciudad se queció como algo de la socolita. En cada pantalla, Elon Musk fijó la voz. What I'm about to reveal does shake the core of power in this country, he said. Entonces, like a thunderbolt ripping through the calm, Musk dropped the bombshell. Donald Trump, the once untouchable former president, was caught in a scandal crafted to silence a black homeless man. But this wasn't just any man. No, this man was Marcus, a ghost in the shadows who lived among the discarded, but held a fortune that could shake the skyline itself. News exploded. Crowds paused mid-step on cracked sidewalks, whispers sparking like wildfire. Wait, Marcus? The guy sleeping under the 3rd Street Bridge? That billionaire? That's insane. People stared, some in disbelief, others with scorn. How could the city's most destitute be the key to a scandal that toppled giants? Marcus felt the weight of all those eyes, and yet he melted into the crowd. His worn coat barely kept out the cold biting at his bones. The rough streets smelled of stale beer and rain-soaked concrete. He tugged his hat low, hiding eyes that once ruled boardrooms and backrooms. The world never guessed the real truth. Beneath the dirt and grime, his bloodline was empire. He had walked away from it all, chasing justice, but now justice was running from him. Elon Musk's damning evidence unleashed chaos. Secret deals, hidden tapes, names burned into the pages of headlines. The powerful scrambled, pawns shifting in deadly games. Marcus's name floated through the mess, implicated, slandered, betrayed by whispers of family treachery and shattered loyalties. Somewhere in the shadows, answers waited. Musk and Trump, two titans linked in a twisted dance with Marcus's past. His heart pounded, fear twisting sharp, raw in his chest. The guilt from leaving his world behind gnawed at him nightly. Could he fight to reclaim what he'd lost? Could he trust anyone? Every step felt heavier, as if the city itself closed in, suffocating. But then, dim as a flicker in the night, an unknown ally reached out, a voice from the dark offering hope and an edge against the chaos. Yet, nothing was simple. As Marcus braced for his reckoning, a sudden twist slammed into him. The truth he hunted wasn't just dangerous. It threatened to destroy everything he ever believed about himself. What was Elon not telling? How deep did the lies go? And most haunting, could Marcus even survive the truth he was about to uncover? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Marcus's breath hitched as the dark figure stepped closer. The unknown ally slowly revealing themselves from the shadows. It was a woman, her face hidden beneath a hood that shielded her from the chilling wind. "You're Marcus, right?" Her voice was low, but it radiated urgency. "Ja, who's asking?" he replied, heart racing. There was something familiar about her. A spark of recognition hidden in the folds of his mind. Just then, a nearby streetlight flickered ominously, casting a harsh glare on her features. Before he could grasp her identity, a loud crash shattered the night, making Marcus jump. "Keep your voice down," she hissed, eyes darting around. Panic clutched at his chest. As she leaned closer, the hood slipped back, revealing a striking face. His breath caught in his throat. It was someone from his past. His sister, Aisha. "Aisha? How can this be? I thought." The words hung in the air, thick and heavy. I know what you thought. But listen, we don't have much time." Her tone shifted. It was laced with tension. "The news, ELON's revelation. It's worse than you think. You're in danger. The people who think they control this city, they want you silenced. And Trump? He's not the only one who's been hiding things." A cold shiver ran down Marcus's spine. "Hiding what? What's going on?" Before she could answer, a black SUV screeched to a halt nearby. Doors swung open and dark figures poured out, unsavory men with angry faces. Marcus's blood ran cold. "We have to go," Aisha urged, her voice threaded with fear. But the men spotted them, honed in like hawks on a sparrow. "There he is!" one barked. "Get him!" Adrenaline surged through Marcus. He grabbed Aisha's hand, pulling her into the chaos of the narrow alley. "We need to split up," he shouted. But she shook her head firmly. "No. We stick together. They know everything." Panic sliced through her features, and Marcus could feel the fear pulsating between them. Just then, from the depth of the alley, a blinding flash erupted. A loud blast cut through the night, followed by a sudden, agonizing scream. Marcus's heart dropped. The sound was all too familiar. He turned, dread clawing at him. "Aisha, please! What's happening?" Then, through a swirling haze of chaos, came the last face he ever expected to see. Elon Musk, standing amidst the storm, his expression tight. "We have to talk, now!" Everything shifted. The world around them froze, as realization crashed down like waves. "You knew her? You've always known?" Marcus spat, anger piercing through the shock. But before Elon could reply, one of the men lunged forward, seizing Aisha with a grip of iron, dragging her back. "Let her go!" Marcus roared, desperation running through him. Time slammed to a halt. The truth turned inside out. "Marcus, listen to me," Elon said, urgency clawing at his words. "Aisha is—" "No!" Aisha cried, fear blooming in her eyes. "He can't know! They can't know!" The depth of the revelación crashed over Marcus como una titanada. ¿Y qué se quería? Cuestiones hasta aquí el polvo como un dampazo. What did she mean? El pasado, su cara seco con determinación. Y ante la calle pulsaba el peligro. Marcus se sintió el suelo por delante, tremó, y la noche crecía más dura. Tuvo que decidir al entrar de Aisha, orchar a Elon. The uncertain path stretched before him, raw and jagged. Then came the piercing sirens in the distance, echoing through the city. Choices loomed, secrets beckoned, and the shadows thickened. wrapping around them like the shroud. Could he unearth the buried truths in time before it all shattered? Marcus's heart raced. His breath came in quick, shallow bursts, a storm brewing inside him. He stood on the edge of an abyss, staring down into chaos. MUSK's revelations reverberated, a seismic shift that rattled the foundations of everything he thought he knew. Questions danced in his mind, each one more painful than the last. Who could he trust? And what was this darkness that seemed to claw at him? Deeper than the shadows he called home. The crowd around him faded, a blur of faces, their murmurs rising and falling like a tide. Then, without warning, a piercing scream shattered the moment. A woman's voice, raw and filled with terror. "Look out!" Marcus spun just as chaos erupted. A figure dashed through the crowd, panic painting their face, eyes wide as saucers. Gunshots rang out, sharp and crackling, slicing through the air like the angry thunder of a coming storm. People screamed, pushed and pulled, searching for safety. He felt adrenaline pump in his veins, each pulse echoing the urgency of the moment. He crouched low, instinct kicking in. Then he saw her, a woman with wild hair, clutching a battered briefcase, darting between bodies. He recognized her as one of the regulars from the shelter. But she wasn't just a face. She was the woman who whispered secrets, the one who had seen things nobody else did. Fear twisted in his gut as he remembered their hasty conversations under flickering streetlights. "Marcus, help!" she cried, desperation coating her voice. He locked eyes with her. Without thinking, he dashed toward her. Every step felt heavy, like wading through molasses. The fear of chaos around him closing in. The gunshots echoed, a warped symphony of terror. He reached her just as another shot rang out, and her briefcase slipped from her grip, clattering open on the ground. Papers exploded in a flurry. Photographs, documents, names that lit up like fireworks in the darkness. "Grab it! We have to go!" she urged, eyes darting. His heart pounded, pounding louder than the chaos surrounding them. He grabbed the briefcase, but something caught his eye. A photo on top, partially smeared with mud. It was him. Older, sitting at a lavish table, surrounded by suits and smiles. But the faces were not unfamiliar. He felt the breath catch in his throat. There, smiling next to him, was none other than Donald Trump himself. What the hell? He thought, confusion colliding with terror. But there was no time. Another shot rang out, and the crowd flooded past them like waves crashing on rocks, seeking safety. "Marcus, why do you have that?" the woman blurted, panic skewing her eyes. "I don't know. We have to move." He urged, clutching the case. She grabbed his arm, urgency pulling him forward, oblivious to the revelation that echoed in his mind. His connection to Trump ran deeper than fame and fortune. "Wait!" she shouted, but he was already moving, driven by instinct. They stumbled down an alley, the sounds of chaos fading behind them, but the weight of the discovery clung to him like a second skin. Every step felt like it carried a secret too heavy to bear. Then, as they turned a corner, suddenly a figure loomed, blocking their path, tall, imposing, a familiar face. It was an old family associate, someone he thought he'd never see again. A man who knew everything, Marcus, the man said, voice low and ominous, you shouldn't have come back. And in that moment, the ground shifted beneath him. With the weight of revelations crashing in like a tidal wave, Marcus realized that escaping his past wasn't just impossible, it was a deadly game, and he was already deep in over his head. Would he emerge, or would the tide drag him down into darkness? Marcus, the man said, voice low and ominous, you shouldn't have come back. Every instinct screamed at Marcus to flee, but he froze, heart pounding in his chest. He recognized the face, one that haunted his past, a family associate, Victor, the very man he had hoped never to see again. Get out of my way, he shouted, desperation pouring into his words. Victor just laughed, a sharp sound that cut through the chaos echoing outside. Is that any way to greet an old friend? His eyes were cold, filled with a darkness that set Marcus on edge. Enough! I'm not playing games! Marcus's voice cracked, panic clawing at his throat. Aisha gripped his arm tighter, the fear radiating off her, intensifying the tension in the air. Suddenly, Victor stepped forward, like a predator closing in on its prey. You think this is over? The truth you're chasing won't set you free, it'll break you. A mocking grin spread across his face, a hurtful contrast to the feral desperation cracking Marcus's resolve. And then, like a thunderclap, it came crashing down. You're not even who you think you are, Marcus. You're just a pawn! His words boomed, causing Aisha to gasp as if he'd struck her. What do you mean? Marcus's head spun, confusion mingling with fear. The ground beneath him felt unsteady, shifting with the weight of Victor's words. Victor's smirk faded, replaced by a chilling sincerity. Do you really believe your life has always been on the streets? You're part of a bigger game. Your family is deeper in this mess than you can imagine. What are you talking about? Stumbling back slightly, Marcus struggled to process it. The warmth of Aisha's presence became icy, a stranger he thought she always was. Victor took another step closer, and tension crackled in the air. You know about the money, the secrets wrapped around power, but did you ever ask why you were cast out? You're one of them, Marcus. A hidden heir, lost to the streets, while others pretended to care. Your fortune isn't gone, it's just been buried. Shock slammed into him like a freight train. Was any of this real? Could it be true that he, a homeless man, had wealth echoing through hidden corridors? The shadows of the past danced violently in his mind, swirling the truth he'd thought solid into a malleable lie. You're lying, Marcus shot back, feeling the heat rise to his cheeks, anger coursing through him. I won't listen to this. Think. Victor pressed on, a glint of triumph in his eyes. What do you really know about your parents? About your so-called family? They're wrapped in lies, Marcus. They tossed you aside when it suited them because they couldn't control you. Behind him, the chaos swelled, but it felt like a distant storm. In that moment, it made sense, like pieces of a puzzle finally aligning. Aisha's face crumbled, emotions flickering between fear and something darker, something almost hungry. Don't do this! You don't understand! She begged, stepping forward. But Victor waved her off, his attention locked on Marcus, a predator smelling fresh blood. You think all this is about money? This isn't about that. It's about power. You're the key to it all, he hissed, and at that moment, something in Marcus snapped. What do you mean I'm the key? He cried, rage boiling over. But the weight of Victor's claim crushed him. Everything he knew felt like a lie. Aisha's urgency vanished, replaced by a calculating glint in her eyes. And then, without warning, Aisha reached into her coat and pulled out a gun. Sorry, Marcus. It's time for the truth. The air thickened with unspoken tension. The world outside faded away. Sirens now a muffled echo in the background. The reality collapsed in on him, spinning wildly. Aisha was more than he'd ever known, and kindred ties that buried deep twisted in the shadows. What was the truth? What game was being played? He felt the walls close in, breath hitching, as pieces of his life tumbled down around him. Who could he trust now? And with the gun aimed unsteadily between them, his heart raced. Would he have to fight against the very people he thought were in his corner? Tell me, Marcus started, voice barely a whisper. What is really happening? Marcus's breath hitched in his throat. The weight of truth seemed more suffocating than ever. He could feel the unraveling of his world, the frantic beating of his heart, almost deafening against the chaos swirling in his mind. Amidst his fear, that flicker of hope pulsed softly, just beyond reach. He needed answers. He needed someone to trust. But trust was a dangerous game. As Marcus stepped deeper into the shadows of his old life, every corner felt like a betrayal waiting to happen. People whispered, their words thick with speculation. They thought they knew him, but they had no idea of the darkness that lay beneath the surface. The secrets that twisted within his bloodline like a coiled serpent. A rumble echoed through the streets, jolting him from his thoughts. The ground trembled beneath him. Was it an earthquake? No, it was too measured, too deliberate. Marcus lifted his head and turned, only to see a black SUV barreling down the street. Panic surged, a crowd scattered, faces wide with confusion and fear. Then it happened. The SUV screeched to a halt, tires smoking. A figure stepped out, tall, imposing with an unmistakable swagger. The crowd gasped as the man adjusted his sunglasses and surveyed the chaos. A dark smirk growing on his lips. It was David, Marcus's estranged brother, the one who had cut ties, the one who had betrayed their family. Marcus! David's voice boomed, slicing through the murmurs, drawing attention like a magnet. Guess who's back in town? Every eye turned towards them. Shock plastered across faces. Marcus's blood ran cold. This wasn't a reunion. This was a challenge. His brother stepped forward, eyes glinting with something sinister. You thought you could escape the family, huh? Look where that got you! Marcus clenched his fists, breath trembling. What do you want, David? Want? He chuckled, a sound devoid of warmth. I want the family back together. I want what's mine. You think you can just walk away from everything? From our legacy? The air thickened with tension. Every breath felt labored. The crowd watched, muttering among themselves. Fear tightened in Marcus's chest. "You don't know what you're asking for. I left that life behind." "Oh, did you?" David leaned closer, voice low, oozing with malice. "Let me let you in on a little secret. The world doesn't forget. They never forget the rich heir who decided to play homeless. That money, Marcus, it'll find its way back. Just watch." A chill ran down Marcus's spine. All the sacrifices he made, all those nights spent in the dark, chasing justice. And now it all meant nothing. David had a hold on their family that could destroy everything he fought for. Then, like a sudden clap of thunder, a gunshot rang through the streets. Time slowed. A cry surged from the crowd. Faces contorted in horror. Marcus turned, heart pounding. Another figure was stumbling toward them, clutching his side, eyes wide in shock. Elon Musk. What have you done?" Elon gasped, doubling over as fear crossed his face. The conspiracy he had unearthed now held a price far greater than mere scandal. The delicate web they had all been entangled in was unraveling. Bloodlines, betrayals, and long-buried secrets emerged bare to the world. In that moment, with chaos erupting around him, Marcus stood frozen. His brother's twisted grin, Elon's pale face, and blood pooling on the ground. How deep did the lies run? And most haunting of all, would he be able to survive the truth that was crashing down around him? Marcus took a deep breath, his heart racing, and tried to focus. The shadows around him felt thicker now, suffocating. He had spent so long trying to escape the world that shaped him, yet now the pieces of his old life were creeping back, dragging him into a spiral he couldn't control. What did Musk know? What had Trump really done? Then from nowhere, chaos erupted. A deafening crash echoed through the street, ripping the tension like a dart in silence. Glass shattered, screams filled the air, and panic exploded among the crowd. Marcus flinched, adrenaline surging. Was it a car accident? A fight? No, it was worse. A black SUV sped down the street, tires screeching, veering wildly. Eyes widened in horror as the vehicle careened toward the gathering crowd. People scrambled, some tripping over each other, desperate to escape the impending doom. Marcus felt his stomach drop. He couldn't stop the terror creeping up his spine. He turned, ready to run, but then, there she was. A woman stood in the path of the mad vehicle, glaring, as if she could strike it down with sheer will. Jet black hair whipped against her face as she raised her arms, like some kind of warrior summoned from the depths. Just as the vehicle approached, a blinding flash lit up the street as the car swerved, crashing into a nearby lamppost with a resounding bang. The hum of the crowd faded into a stunned silence. Marcus's pulse raced. He watched as the driver stumbled out, dazed and bleeding. The crowd pressed closer, fear mixing with an odd sense of morbid curiosity. A few moved to help, but most stood frozen, mouths agape. But Marcus's eyes weren't on the driver. They were on the woman, his heart pounding with recognition. It was her, Althea. His long-lost sister. She stepped forward, fists clenched, eyes fierce. You think you can silence us? She shouted. Not anymore! A surreal jolt shot through Marcus. How had she found him? And where had she even been all these years? He felt all the air rush out of his lungs. Did she know anything about the secrets he desperately needed to uncover? Althea, he called out, feeling like he might faint. But she didn't turn. Instead, she moved toward the wreck, determination etched across her face. Adrenaline surged through him. Could she really help? Was that even why she came? Then a heavy weight settled on his chest as he remembered the rumors about their family, the betrayal buried beneath layers of lies. Had Althea come to save him, or was she part of the chaos that threatened to consume him? With every step she took toward the driver, unease gnawed at him. The driver's bloodied figure struggled to stand, panic evident. Althea spoke urgently to them, clear passion in her words. Was she there for a reason? For revenge? As the police sirens wailed in the distance, Marcus staggered back, reeling from the shock. The past he thought he left behind swallowed him whole. If Althea knew about the scandal, what did she really want? He lost sight of her in the frenzy as people pushed in closer. Questions swirled, shadows danced, and his world was tumbling into chaos. What secrets lay behind those blood-stained doors? Was she the ally he sought, or a trap bent on unraveling everything? Before he could chase after her, a hand seized his shoulder. Strong and unyielding, he turned, searching for the owner of the grip, and felt the darkness closing in. Just as the police burst onto the scene, lights flashing like fireworks, he muttered into the confusion, "What now?" And the only answer came in the form of a spine-chilling scream from the distance. A scream that rippled through the crowd. A scream that could unravel everything he thought was true. Marcus took a deep breath, clutching the tattered fabric of his coat tighter around him. The streets were alive with murmurs, faces twisted in shock and curiosity. Yet he felt completely alone amidst the chaos staggering toward him. He had to find answers. But who could he trust? The air crackled with uncertainty as shadows darted in the corners of his vision, hints of a world that wanted him hidden, silenced. Just then, a sudden crash erupted from the far end of the street. Shattered glass like rain. A storefront window exploded outward. People screamed, breaking from their reverie. Marcus' heart raced as he turned to see a flicker of movement. A figure, cloaked in darkness, sprinted from the debris, carrying something shiny. It was all chaos, pushing, shoving, panic sweeping like a gust of wind. In the ensuing frenzy, Marcus froze. His mind raced. Was it real, or just another mirage of danger? The mass of humanity surged forward, a tide heated by adrenaline. But he couldn't stay hidden. Something twisted inside him. Curiosity overpowered fear. He slipped through the crowd, fighting against bodies jostling him as he pressed forward, eyes locked on the mysterious figure. Then, in a moment that felt like hours, he caught a glimpse. It was a woman, dark hair cascading down her shoulders, her eyes wild and frantic. Suddenly, she turned, and their eyes locked. In that instant, familiarity struck him as a jolt. The recognition was undeniable. That was Tasha, his estranged sister. The one person from his past he had tried so hard to forget. "Marcus!" she cried, panic lacing her voice. "You have to listen! They're coming for us!" The world around him melted away. Questions flooded his mind like a dam bursting. What did she mean? Who was after them? Before he could voice a single one, the gnawing sense of betrayal rose in his throat. Why was she here now after all these years? Her betrayal cut sharper than any knife, leaving him gasping. Suddenly, the ground shook beneath them. A vehicle roared to life, tires screeching against the pavement. Dark SUVs rounded the corner, unmarked, overtly aggressive. Their headlights sliced through the swarming throng. "Run, now!" Tasha shouted, grabbing his arm, pulling him toward an alley. Fear surged in his chest again. He didn't know if he should trust her. A part of him wanted to flee, but the thread of their shared history tugged him forward. They ducked into the shadows, their breaths heavy, hearts colliding against the weight of the past. Just as they reached a corner, a loud bang shot through the air, a gunshot echoing in the night. The movement behind them froze. Panic ignited the crowd, scattering everyone in every direction. Marcus felt the heat of fear crawl up his spine. He turned to Tasha, but she was trembling, eyes wide and glassy. "They're after you for something bigger," she whispered. "You don't know the truth, Marcus." His mind reeled. What truth? What could possibly shake the foundations of everything he thought he understood? Was the scandal connected to him? To her? Before he could ask, she pulled something from her pocket. A small flash drive, the size of a quarter, gleaming ominously in the flickering light. "Take it!" she urged, heart racing, voice barely above a whisper. "It has everything." But just as he reached for it, a thunderous crash sent debris flying. The SUV had barreled into a nearby storefront, and chaos erupted around them. The sirens wailed, and chaos reigned, each second twisting tighter, pulling them toward an edge they couldn't see. Heart pounding, he faced her, desperation mixing with doubt. What was happening? What danger loomed over them? In that split second, life would never be the same again, and the choices made in the next few moments would echo forever. "Do you trust me?" she asked, eyes shining with both fear and something else he couldn't decipher. But before he could answer, two shadows emerged from the chaos, men, menacing and armed, closing in. As Marcus took a step back, unsure of everything that just unraveled, Tasha clenched his hand tighter. "Run!" And so they dove into the unknown, a world of lies, loss, and shocking truths waiting to be uncovered behind them. But could they outrun the past, or each other? Marcus and Tasha dashed into the narrow alley, the chaos from the street fading only slightly behind them. Every heartbeat pounded in his ears, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Tasha's grip tightened, fingers digging into his arm like a lifeline. "This way," she urged, urgency lacing her voice. They slipped deeper into the shadows, shadows that clung to them like a shroud. He wanted to ask her everything, why she had come back, what had happened in her life, why she seemed so frantic. But there was no time. Heavy footsteps echoed behind them, and the sound of panic surged through the air like a wave. "Marcus, listen to me!" Tasha's voice broke through his thoughts. "You don't understand the danger. They're not just after you." "What do you mean, they? Who's after us?" He felt the knot of fear tighten in his chest. "Why now? You left, you just disappeared." "I had to. I was trying to protect you," she shot back, her eyes wild. "They knew too much, and I couldn't let them get to you." Before he could respond, a piercing scream sliced through the night, sending chills down his spine. The crowd outside was exploding, panicking. Gunshots echoed again, sharp and sickening, making his stomach twist. Suddenly, out of nowhere, he caught sight of Althea rushing toward them. Her expression was calm but urgent. "Get in!" she shouted, opening the door to a nearby building, a dimly lit old warehouse. He hesitated for a fraction of a second, then felt Tasha pull him. They stumbled inside as Althea slammed the door shut behind them, locking it with a click that felt final. Darkness swallowed them, but to Marcus, it felt strangely safe. "What is happening?" Tasha gasped, terror in her eyes. "Why would they chase us? What do they want?" Althea turned quickly, an intensity burning in her gaze. "The truth is more dangerous than you know. It's not just about the money or the family. It's about power and who controls it. And you're part of that, Marcus." "Me? What could I possibly have?" He spat back, disbelief mingling with rising panic. Althea opened her mouth to respond, just as a deafening crash rattled the warehouse doors. They jumped, the sound echoing like an explosion. "They found us!" she yelled, urgency spiking her voice. "Back away." Tasha suggested, eyes darting around the space. They turned to find a small window at the far end, half buried under old crates. Marcus took a step toward it, but just then the sound of footsteps grew louder, menacing and heavy. "No time!" Althea shouted. "We have to move!" But then, before they could react, the door burst open. 3 men stormed in, faces shadowed by the dim light, guns raised. "On the ground!" one shouted. Fear froze Marcus in place. Gwa. A wild instinct told him to fight, to flee. But everything felt heavy and surreal. At that moment, out of nowhere, Tasha stepped forward. "Wait, you don't understand!" she cried, her voice desperate. But the leader was unyielding, eyes narrowed. "We know exactly what we need to do. It's time to end this." Then the unexpected happened. Tasha pulled a small device from her pocket and pressed a button. In an instant, the entire warehouse brightened suddenly. The lights flaring to life in blinding brightness. The men shielded their eyes, momentarily disoriented. "Tasha, what?" Marcus started, but she turned, a grin transforming her face into something foreign. "Surprise!" she said, voice lit with mischief. "I told you I'd protect you. Now let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes." And in that moment, everything twisted. The air felt charged, his breath hitched. Tasha, the sister he'd believed was scared, was now a commanding presence. A shiver rippled through him. Had he truly known her? The men stumbled backward, shocked. Just as realization dawned on him, electric chaos ignited. Althea surged past Marcus, plunging toward the nearest man. And the room erupted into complete pandemonium. As the fight broke out, uncertainty twisted through Marcus's gut like ivy. Tasha had betrayed his expectations, flipping everything he thought he understood upside down. Anger and confusion warred for control over him. In the flickering light, a piercing scream erupted again, the sound of a voice that was eerily familiar. "Is it really you, Marcus?" Time stilled. The voice cut through the chaos, recognizing the one person he never expected to hear. His heart plummeted. Mom? And just like that, the world spun on its axis. Would everything he'd fought for, everything he believed, unravel into shadows before his eyes? Secrets were clawing to be freed from the darkness surrounding him, and the choice before him felt impossibly heavy. Mom! The word escaped Marcus's lips, a whisper heavy with disbelief, trembling like a fragile leaf in a storm. How could she be here? The notion twisted in his mind, each forgotten memory clawing to the surface. He scanned the room for confirmation. Was this some cruel trick? A twisted game? Marcus, she breathed, eyes wide and glimmering with an emotion he couldn't quite decipher. I've looked everywhere for you. The chaos around them blurred, fading like a distant memory. The shock of her presence slammed into him, memories flooding in. Every hug, every laugh, each moment they'd shared before the fracture. You came back after all this time? It felt surreal, almost dreamlike. Shush! We need to move! Althea interrupted, urgency prickling her tone. Get the men out! But his mother didn't respond. Instead, she stepped closer, voice trembling. I know everything. About your father, about the family. Reality jolted. What do you mean? His heart raced in sync with the confusion buzzing in his mind. What happened? You left. I thought you were gone for good. Tension thickened. Every second weighted with unspoken truths. Outside, the world erupted. The sound of sirens grew closer, echoing off the walls. Panic skittered along his spine. Suddenly, one of the men lunged at Althea, but she sidestepped, spinning like a whirlwind, jabbing him hard in the stomach. Get out! She shouted at Marcus and Tasha. Amid the chaos, he felt his mother's hand grasp his. They won't stop. I didn't come back just to find you. There's something bigger, something they can't allow you to know. He was about to demand more when, without warning, the lights flickered and dimmed. A sudden blast of cold air swept through the room, sending chills coursing down his spine. A figure emerged from the darkness, cloaked and hooded. Enough! The voice cut sharp, icy and powerful. It sent tremors through the space, a magnetic pull that demanded attention. Everyone turned, uncertainty hanging thick in the air. The figure stepped forward, revealing a face Marcus never thought he'd see again. A face that haunted his nightmares, twisted with bitter memories. David? He gasped, disbelief swirling within him, mixing with paralyzing fear. His brother stood there, a proud smirk ghosting across his face. Miss me? David snarled, icy eyes piercing into Marcus. You thought you could escape our family? I've come to remind you. Secrets have a way of crawling back. The weight of his words sank into Marcus's chest like a leaden anchor. What do you want with us? What secrets? Suddenly, the air crackled and everything shifted. Tasha pulled the flash drive closer, determination setting her jaw. He's one of them, she yelled, pointing at David. He knows what's happening. But David laughed, a cruel sound that stripped naked any hope Marcus held. You think that little thing can save you? It's too late. I know you both, what you really are. The world around him blurred, confusion igniting in Marcus's mind. What do you mean? What am I? With that, David's smirk faltered and his eyes narrowed, as if revealing something within himself. You're not just a nobody anymore. You're part of a family that won't let you fade away. You may have thought your mother left out of misery, but she left because of the truth. We didn't want you caught in our games. David? Marcus's voice was barely a whisper, confusion warping into something darker. What are you talking about? But then, a burst of tortured laughter erupted from the shadows. You don't even know who your real father is, do you, Marcus? A vengeful gleam sparkled in David's eyes. Welcome back to the family. Or rather, what's left of it. Time to decide where your loyalties lie. The room crystallized into surreal silence. His heart hammered wildly against his chest, revelation striking like a bolt of lightning. Marcus staggered back, self-identity crumbling like dust beneath his feet. Tasha stood beside him, expression etched in a mix of fear and determination. Althea, once a figure of strength, now looked fragile. Outside, sirens wailed louder than any heartbeat. "Who am I?" Marcus managed to croak, the words heavy, drenched in uncertainty. And just like that, the shadows deepened, and everything he had thought solid was set adrift in a storm of confusion. Would he unravel the truth, or would it swallow him whole? The weight of the revelation hung between them, pulsing with ominous energy. In that moment, everything changed, and the world closed in, fragile and filled with impending doom. Marcus's breath came ragged and fast, his heart hammering against his ribs. David's presence sent electric shockwaves of dread through the air. Memories of family ties twisted into knots of betrayal. "You can't do this!" Marcus shouted, anger igniting within him. But fear clutched so tightly it was hard to breathe. David sneered. "You think you can hide from the truth? You are part of us. The family always finds a way." Just then, Althea stepped forward, her voice steady yet fierce. "You're wrong. Marcus is not your puppet anymore. He's stronger than you think." At that moment, a realization snapped into focus, like a camera lens sharpening an image. For years, Marcus had fought against the weight of his lineage, the stigma of being a forgotten heir, lost among the shadows. Now, standing defiantly alongside his sisters, he felt their unity knit together, a tapestry of strength. The tension thickened. A storm gathering, the sirens outside morphed into a chaotic anthem of his reality, echoing his fears and uncertainties. With every heartbeat, he considered their next move. Could they unite against what loomed before them? Tasha's eyes sparkled with determination. ... We fight! We unveil the truth together! But suddenly, a heavy bang reverberated through the warehouse. The door trembled, about to burst open. Fear pooled in his stomach like ice. "We have to go, now!" Marcus shouted. "We'll hold them off," Althea said, a defiant resolve in her stance. "Grab the flash drive, it's your only chance!" A lifetime of decisions led to this moment. He reached out, snatching the flash drive from Tasha's trembling hand, feeling its weight as if it contained the very essence of his past. "I'll find you," he promised, his voice resolute, filled with raw emotion. The door splintered, and David let out a chilling laugh. "You think you can escape? The truth will find you!" But they didn't wait for his taunts. Althea and Tasha charged toward the door, determination etched in every line of their bodies. The world outside bled into chaos as screams mingled with the wail of sirens. But within the tangled mess, clarity surged through Marcus's veins. He slipped past them, a bolt of energy propelling him toward the exit. The alley opened up in front of him, and he took off, heart racing like a drum. Freedom was near, but the shadows of the past followed close behind. He broke into the crisp night, every breath a frantic rush. The neon lights buzzed overhead as a familiar voice echoed from the depths of his consciousness. "You're not alone anymore." It was a whisper of hope amid the darkness. Racing against time, he knew he could change everything. The truth would finally see the light. His family's secrets would be unearthed, turning betrayal into a weapon against those who sought to keep him silent. The fight was far from over. Then, somewhere in the distance, he could see Tasha and Althea pushing through the crowd, their faces fierce, alive with purpose. They would not let him fall. Together, the urgency of her voice cut through the chaos, and in that single word, Marcus felt the warmth of hope flooding back into his chest. As he ran, adrenaline coursed through him, thoughts swirling around a future unknown yet tantalizingly close. There was no stopping now. The past was heavy, but the future shimmered with promise and a mystery that would keep them intertwined. But as he turned to look back, adrenaline still buzzing, shadows lengthened, and whispers floated in the cool night air, leaving an ominous feeling lingering like a ghost. And in that silence, a truth simmered, shocking and electric. The fight had only just begun. You have to subscribe now. Don't miss out on the exclusive stories coming next. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about this ending. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even a second longer.